God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege. This is the Protege program. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know if you haven't noticed, but I've been uploading videos in the mornings the past few days. So make sure you've got your notifications turned on so that you'll see when those videos go live. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the president's tweets from yesterday. He tweeted that he was going to, or he's been talking about using presidential powers to intervene in what he calls a rigged system. And what he's talking about, and what we'll see as we get into this column, is the Department of Justice and the FBI being run by Rod Rosenstein because of the Sessions recusal. Being run by Rosenstein are essentially not cooperating with lawmakers on their requests to see information. When they do get information, it's weeks, sometimes months late. It's extremely heavily redacted in many cases, and the information is not sufficient for the investigation that the House and Senate committees are trying to have take place. So let's look at some of this from the column. I want to go down to right about here. Trump's tweet comes as Fox News confirmed that the DOJ sent a letter on Monday to two Republican lawmakers declining to provide the full scope memo related to Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe, saying it pertains to an ongoing criminal investigation. Now, question: Why do the lawmakers need to see the full scope memo? Why do lawmakers need to know if the FBI and the DOJ provided an adequate scope to the special counsel, Robert Mueller? Why do they need to know that? The reason they need to know that is because there are guidelines in the Department of Justice for authorizing a special counsel. One of those guidelines is that a strict scope must be set. A strict scope must be set. Specifically, a crime needs to be named that the special counsel is investigating. And in the case of the Mueller investigation, we happen to already know for a fact that there was no crime named, that Mueller was given effectively infinite scope to look into whatever he wanted to look into. And we also know the reason that he was given an infinite scope and that no crime was named. Because the Democrats and Rosenstein, who happens to be an Obama appointee, want Mueller to be able to look high and low, to turn over every rock, to look into every nook and crevice and cranny, to find any inkling whatsoever of any crime of any magnitude that may have been committed by anybody in the Trump orbit. I've used this phrase, the Trump orbit, before, just in case there's any new watchers. The Trump orbit means anybody that comes into contact with President Trump in a positive way. If Diamond and Silk, the YouTube personalities who've been talking a lot about how their content is being throttled and censored by Facebook, if Diamond and Silk, who have received a check from the Trump campaign in 2016, if they had a phone call with somebody of Russian descent and Mueller got his hands on that phone call, he would prosecute Diamond and Silk with Russian collusion. That's how broadly the scope of the Trump orbit is, and that's how broadly the scope of the Mueller investigation was designed to be. Because the objective of the Mueller investigation is to obfuscate, is to distract from, is to impede the Trump administration. Now, the title of the video is "Trump Should Come Down." on the FBI for their non-cooperation with lawmakers. That's because they have been in a state of non-cooperation since the election. And I say since the election because it's been since the Russia collusion rumors started, which was 24 hours after the election happened. Now, it's been in full swing since Jeff Sessions took over as Attorney General because he recused himself from the Russian matter. Rod Rosenstein has been running the DOJ as it refers to is not the right word, but I can't think of the word that I'm thinking of. So as it pertains to the Russia investigation, Rod Rosenstein has been running all of the DOJ, and he's the number 2 man. He is not Trump's pick, and I'm not sure. I don't think he's immune from being fired by Trump, but it would not be politically expedient for Trump to fire Rosenstein. I think is the only reason that he hasn't done it at this time. But Rosenstein is the boss of the FBI because he's the boss of the FBI. If the FBI is not cooperating with anybody, the buck stops at Rosenstein. You could say it goes higher and say the buck stops at Sessions, but Sessions accused himself. You could say the buck goes higher and stops at the president, but the president wants the FBI and the DOJ to cooperate with lawmakers, so it goes back on to Rosenstein. It's on Rosenstein that the DOJ is not cooperating with lawmakers. And it reminds me, this is going to be, I want to do a bonus video tomorrow where I give you a hypothetical peek into the mind of a police officer when he's in a standoff with a non-compliant suspect. That's going to be the bonus video tomorrow, but keep your eyes open for that. But that is coming from the show Blue Bloods. I love Blue Bloods because of how intimately they try and get you in touch with the workings of a police department, in particular the New York Police Department. And on multiple occasions in the show, there is a thing called blue flu. Now, blue flu, according to the show Blue Bloods, is a phenomena where the police department doesn't like what the Attorney General or the Department of Justice for their municipality is doing. And so police officers will show up late or not show up at all for court appointments where they're supposed to testify against a criminal to put the criminal away. So if the Attorney General or the DOJ is doing something the police doesn't like, the police won't help the DOJ. And every time this happens in the show, the police commissioner will make a pass through the police department, or he'll talk to the chief of departments, and he'll say, "We can't have blue flu. We don't need to do this because we need to enforce the law. We need to hold these criminals accountable. And just because we don't like what maybe some of the leadership of the Department of Justice is doing, or the Attorney General is doing, we still need to enforce the law. We still need to testify against these criminals." And what we have, and so as a metaphor for what's going on right now with the FBI and the DOJ, is we have a version of the blue flu where the FBI, the DOJ, is not giving lawmakers what they're asking for. They're not nearly enough information as it pertains to this investigation, heavily redacting the documents that lawmakers are asking for, and presenting those documents not in a timely fashion, in the opposite of a timely fashion. We have the FBI flu just doesn't roll off the tongue the way that blue flu does, but anyhow. And it's the duty of Rosenstein as the head of the DOJ, the de facto head of the DOJ as it pertains to Russia, to tell his people that they don't need to shirk their responsibility to enforce the law and to share information with lawmakers, with the people that are responsible for carrying out the law in the case of lawmakers, or to go back to the metaphor. But Rosenstein is not doing that. In this case, Rosenstein would be like the chief of police going around and telling everybody to keep up the blue flu. Don't show up for your court appointments. We're not going to cooperate. Rosenstein is by tacit administration, and in a press conference saying to his people, don't cooperate. He said on Tuesday, the Justice Department is not going to be extorted. I can tell you there are people who have been making threats privately and publicly against me for quite some time, and I think they should understand by now the DOJ is not going to be extorted. We're going to do what is required by the rule of law, and any kind of threats that anybody makes are not going to affect the way we do our job. So the lawmakers are saying, if you don't cooperate with us, we're going to come after you. And Rosenstein, I think, is conflating that with individual people, not lawmakers, or perhaps lawmakers speaking out of turn, making illegal threats against Rosenstein, saying, I'm going to get you fired, I'm going to expose this about you, or I'm going to do this to you, your person. Rosenstein, I think, is conflating a legitimate threat against his job for not cooperating with a person threatening him personally for doing something that they don't like. And I really don't appreciate the de facto highest lawman in the nation on this matter conflating those two issues, or saying that, we're going to do what's required by the rule of law. That Rosenstein saying we're going to do what's required by the rule of law is just a lie. It's a bald-faced lie, because we know that no appropriate scope or crime was laid out for Mueller to pursue, and that's in the DOJ guidelines to do specifically that when it comes to appointing a special counsel. We know that Rosenstein did not do that. So Rosenstein is not abiding by the rule of law, and he thinks he gets to be the man to call out the lawmakers for trying to get him to abide by the rule of law. I got a little heated there for a moment, and I thank you for allowing me to do that. That's going to do it for this video, though. I hope that you all have enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. If you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. It's more important now than ever to make sure that your notifications are turned on, so that you'll be notified when these videos go live, because they're not on the same schedule that you're used to at this point, and the schedule might be shifting. So make sure you've got your notifications turned on. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss a single video. Thank you so much for watching. Come back and join us next time. Until then, have a fantastic day, and God bless.